What's going on, everybody? It's Pale Horse here. I'm gonna be doing a small test stream. Working on Cad Bane. Got some new equipment and some new arrangements I'm working on with some of the audio and new camera stuff I got going on. So I'm gonna be testing it out and working on Cad Bane. Here we are right now. So we're real close to being done. I just got to do some final details. I just want to bring out the hottest spots, like where the light hits the most, like on the edge of the hat and the rim light, and just pay attention to things like that. And start throwing in those real dark blacks, like almost straight black, out of the tube, and get it in those creases and just really send it home. Because I'm starting to find spots where I don't even know if I want to touch it because I think I might, I'm adding too much. So it's getting to the point where it's just about completed. So I'm super excited to be almost through. And like always, I'm using golden brand acrylics. I like the fluid kind. It's a little bit more thin and works well with the way I paint. So we're gonna get started with throwing in some dark shadows and just really trying to wrap it up here. So let's get started. And we're going to be listening to some Shaman Avi and Pale Horse. It's me and my friend from a few years back. We made a couple of CDs, and we haven't really done much since then. He's living in Australia right now, but I'm sure when he comes back to town and I got my studio up and running, we'll be making some more music. But until then, we can enjoy the two albums that we created, and I'll share that with you now. All right, let's go. So now I'm just going through and picking out those real dark areas, just trying to make sure everything looks balanced, referring back to my reference picture. Just kind of going through everything that I've already done and just kind of comparing to see if I should add anything. And at this point, I'm just using straight black out of the tube. I'm not even mixing in the blue that I normally use, the Platho blue. I'm just going straight black and just really looking for those the folds in the clothes and in the skin.
The Chitauri said, if you serve us, you wretched little human beings, we are going
What's going on, Jacobite?
to make you into gods. And the human beings agreed to serve the Chitauri. And the Chitauri gave human beings a second gift, the gift of language. People started talking.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Where they had talked
We're just about to wrap it up. I'm just trying to get all the last little details and work on the high and the low spectrum of the color, getting all the heat from the light with the bright white straight out of the tube, and using straight black out of the tube to get those real dark shadows. Just going through and trying to finalize it and just give it a last once over. I'm doing pretty good. Just had a busy day. I was on the road all day with my dog. She had an early appointment that I needed to get her there at the vet's so she could hang out and they could monitor her for a little while. She got a new medicine. It's fairly new. Basically, she has a small tumor on her top of her foot. So just picture the top of your hand having a fatty or some sort of like hard tissue tumor, and it doesn't really bother her walking. It's a cancerous tumor. So, and there's no way to remove it with surgery because with that specific tumor, they have to remove a certain percentage below in all directions. So if it was inside you, they would remove a certain percentage of the tissue around it. So you have to be able to encompass the whole thing. Since it's on the top of her hand, you can't or foot or paw, you can't really do anything about that. So we had her on medication for over a year and a half, and it's stabilized. But she still has the cancer, but hasn't gotten any worse. So we got the go-ahead to try this new treatment that she previously was not a candidate for. So it's basically we're creating a big pimple, and it'll burst open and stuff like that. So it gets real gross, but hopefully she'll be able to be better later on and have a good handful of years left. She's already I think 10, so she's an old girl, but she's got a good handful of years, and so, doing pretty good with her spirits and whatnot and getting around on her own. So there's no reason to not try to take the treatment. So I'm hopeful. What's up, Olden Science? Good to see ya. Yeah, I know. I used to be a well, I still am a dog handler. That's just kind of like a generic title of somebody that manages and does stuff with dogs and takes care of them. But I worked in a dog kennel for actually a very long time because I worked in another one before that one. And doing that kind of job, you see a bunch of different kinds of cases that, like, I don't know, just being around like your friends, like when I was growing up, only a couple people had dogs, and like I wasn't really used to them getting sick like that or having those kinds of things go on. But being in that type of business, you see a lot of it, and it's sad. But you know, you just got to think about their lifespan is just faster than ours, and all that stuff takes, it's quicker. Everything happens faster with them. At my old job, I used to work with like 25 to 30 dogs at once. I was like a dog daycare, and we had a huge room that had like a rubber floor, and you have all the dogs run around, but you have like a screening process, so you know what you're dealing with, but you can't be super picky or you won't make any money. So you try to keep the best dogs that fit you know fit the environment and the temperament of the group, and maintain order, so that things don't get too out of hand. You let them play and stuff like that because that's what they're there for, but you monitor it so nobody gets hurt, just like a referee.
The Chitauri said, if you serve us, you wretched
I've been working with dogs for, I don't know, since, well, at least 10 years in the actual like profession of working with dogs, but I've had dogs around me since I was like just out of high school. So that's been a while. We had a wolf hybrid. He passed away about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Oh yeah, it's the light effects. Those are the things that sell the paintings. Like they that's like the thing that pops.
reality.
Yeah, I enjoy that too. I want to work on this just a little bit more. I think I can squeeze just a little bit more heat out of that. Where the what's it called? Like where the folds are on the top of the hat, like the peak right around there. And it can boost it up just a little bit more. But I like to work dark to light. It's I don't know why I do it, but that's how I was taught. And I work dark to light, and then I go back and I overlay them. And there's a lot of pushing back and forth between it. So what do you think? Do you think Cad Bane survived? I was just thinking about something that Jacobite said uh, about having his headphones on with a hat and it pressing down on the Smartie or something like that. I don't remember. But I was just thinking about that because I was like, why is my head hurting? I was pressing down on this metal part of my hat. So right now I'm trying to get this rim of the hat that's in the full shadow. So we got the light coming from the back. And one of the reasons why I picked this picture is because the light source came from the back and it made the face like soft in shadow, but still kind of illuminated from the indirect light from below, like the sand or whatever is around him. But I'm trying to get this brim and just like really lay in the black so it really pops these eyes, because it'll almost serve as a frame. You know, he's framed in the canvas, and then he's also framed within his own self. So it just kind of like gives you kind of like a stair step effect. Yeah, I think he's alive too, because like I think it was a wasted opportunity to not bring in the robot Toto. I think that would be hilarious, because I think Seth Green is his name, the one guy from Robot Chicken. I think he voices the droid for Cad Bane, and I think it'd be awesome to see like a live Toto going around with Cad Bane. That'd be so awesome. But first, I gotta get this dark shadow in here so we can get these eyes looking super sick. But you want to lay in the black real thick, but you also gotta pay attention to not get too crazy with your the amount of paint versus the amount of water you have on a brush, because if you have too much paint, you're gonna be like slopping, thick paint on there, and it's gonna be hard to it's gonna give a lifted texture on the canvas. And my style of painting and the way the things I like aesthetically is I like to have it as smooth as possible. So that's why I use a lot of washes, and I pick the thinner paint with the heavier pigments in it, so it gets like more of a color saturation on the surface. So I don't know if you can really see that, but just by throwing that darker highlight or darker shadow in there, it just kind of like sinks those eyes a little bit back and makes them glow. I gotta get a better camera to get a better close-up, like higher definition shot or something, but I'm working on it. So that's looking pretty good. We also got to remember that the light kind of shifts back and forth of how far it goes over that rim of his hat, because it's an organic material. It's like a fabric, and it doesn't you know, it's not perfectly straight or anything like that, so it's going to have a little bit of bend and wobble to it, so that's going to change how much the light recedes and advances over that kind of lip that the brim has. So you're going to vary your line a little bit and just try to give it a little bit of an organic kind of natural fabric look, I guess. So what I'm trying to do is just go thick and thin in a little bit of areas where it's super highlighted by that sun ray. Go a little thick here, then we go thin in this area. I'm not trying to get the whole thing. I want it to kind of trail off a little bit at the end, or be less saturated, so I'm gonna water down my color a little bit more. So now I'm working with a real thin wash, which is gonna obviously leave less paint, but still give me a little bit more of a defined line, but still let a little bit of that color underneath play through the wash of it. So now that my paintbrush is a little bit watered down, I'm just going to go through and try to give a little bit more definition to those little bit of those little shadows, or where the light catches a little bit differently on the fabric, just to add a little bit more definition. There you go, looks good. Subtle changes. You don't want to get too crazy right now. Just trying to wrap it up. Just going through this little metal plate and trying to balance out some of these fades. I left everything real kind of light in those areas because I wanted to slowly build it up, so I can really invest in like the textures and the different colors that are used in there, so it kind of gets a good color harmony out throughout the whole painting. Now I'm gonna go through this other side of the hat and just give it a couple little stipples in a couple areas just to add a little bit more color variation in the texture. Dab it off a little bit. Another cool thing for getting texture in paintings is if you don't do things like real completely like rendered like that, and you want to have like a little bit looser style and like have a little bit of fun, you can take like a toothbrush or a dirty or an old paintbrush and like splatter it and flick it on your drawing before you start painting, and that'll help give you some kind of cool like happy accident kind of stuff going on. I did that a few times on a couple paintings on their backgrounds. It turned out really cool. What's going on? Thanks for the follow. How you doing? We're over here working on Cad Bane, trying to wrap him up. I'm doing the dark shadows right now using golden acrylic paint on a 8x8 wood panel. Thank you. I'm using golden acrylics. I'm using the fluid type. They have a few different types of paint that they have under the golden brand, and I'm using the fluid kind. So wood panel. I got it from it's called I think Dick Blick, or Dick Blick, and it's got it's called a couple layers of acrylic gesso on it, and then I put a sketch on it and worked up the sketch with an underpainting of some blue and black, and then I started doing washes of color over that underpainting to get to this point that you see now. So it's been about maybe 12-13 hours. I don't know, probably more like 12 hours, I think. that I've put into it so far, and it's come along good. I think I probably got. It's gonna be a short stream tonight. I only got maybe about 45 minutes left to go before I have to take off, but I think I'll probably get one more stream out of it to wrap it up. So we're almost done. And right now I'm still focusing on putting in those dark shadows in the folds of the clothes. Just really trying to get some contrast and some like perceived roundness of a chest, you know, like the roundness. I don't know how to explain it, but just trying to wrap it up here. In the last stream I did, I put in some lighter washes throughout the clothes to try to get nail some of like the higher points in the folds. And today I'm going back through and kind of giving them a soft blend into shadow. So I always say this, it's like clay, and it's like pushing and pulling. So you could just kind of like work it and you know, mold it until you get it right. Awesome. Boba Fett's one of my favorite characters to paint. Back in the couple years ago, I was really like just painting Star Wars all the time, tons and tons of scenes and stuff like that. I was doing little Comic Cons, so I would paint up a bunch of Star Wars scenes and other scenes from the movies, like the Marvel movies and stuff like that, Lord of the Rings. And I would go to these Comic Cons and I would sell prints of them, and sometimes sell originals or pick up commissions from people at the cons and get their phone numbers and stuff like that. Meet up later and drop off their hand painted stuff, and that's kind of like how I did my little business a few years ago before the pandemic started, and kind of changed all that for a bit. But hopefully this summer I'll be able to get back into that kind of stuff. I've already been working on getting some of my prints done up. I got some Star Wars posters and some movie stuff like Batman and Mr. Miyagi and Beetlejuice, stuff like that. So I'm kind of like restarting. I did I kind of like, you know, said I'm not going to do any of the stuff that I had already previously done. I'm just going to go forth with like my newest material from like the last 2 years. So I kind of like just said, all right, these are the new prints I'm doing. And right now I'm stockpiling. I'm getting batches done of each print, and getting a few done at a time, so I'm not like really eating a lot of money out of pocket right away. Gradually like getting my stuff ready for when I'm 100% ready to go. I'll have inventory and like I have a table and a sign and business cards and all the stuff that goes with that. One thing about Star Wars that I always loved painting was always loved painting the bad guy helmets. They're just like the most fun. Like Stormtroopers, Boba Fett, Darth Vader, any character that had a really cool looking helmet, I love to paint. I can't wait to do what's it called, Infus Ness, I think is the name of the character. She's the Cloud Rider in Han Solo's Star Wars story movie. I really dig the mask. It just has an awesome look to it. Appreciate the follow. I just say just practice all the time, man. I mean, I've been painting for like 10 years, like the same stuff, like over and over, and like I like when I was looking at my YouTube videos that I did the other day, I looked at like my first one that I did like a long time ago, and like the side by side comparison between those paintings and the newest paintings that I've done in the last 2 years is just, it's crazy just how good you get with just practicing. If you, I mean, with anything in life, it's like if you want it, you can have it. You just have to work for it. And you know, certain things aren't easy, and some things come easy to other people. So it's just like you gotta invest your time and practice and just put in hours to get good. I mean, it's not like some people have some sort of gifts sometimes, or are able to understand concepts, but you know, I think practice, you know, you can get just as good as people that have gifts. Yeah, I just practiced a lot. I mean, stick with it and you know, put in the time and you'll get good. I think the biggest thing for improvement is doing things completely out of your comfort zone. Like my last major art project that I did for my show that's actually in progress right now was to make some cartoons. I'm like straight up like, you know, black outline kind of cartoons. I don't do that kind of stuff. I like to you know, have real um, what's it called, like technical. Like I like to plan everything out. I like to do it exactly the same every time. You know, make sure that I follow a process, and you know that's like soothing for me. That's how it's fun for me. But that's how I get my results, is because I follow a process. But doing the cartoons, I was kind of like totally like, what do I do? You know, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do. So I just like started from square one. I started with little thumbnails. I came up with some ideas of some funny little, circumstances that these characters that I came up with would be in, and just kind of worked that out, and just like made a bunch of mistakes and real crap, you know, that it's not gonna, work. So I got all that out of the way until I figured out something that was decent, or was like had the feel that I wanted to convey. And then I took that little thumbnail, literally it's like a silver dollar, just like that big. I took that and expanded on it and added more, and then I started thinking in the way I do things now, like technically, like planning everything out. You know, I made the process bigger, and I changed the way I thought about it. And then now I feel like I'm much better than I was before. A couple months back, just by doing these simple cartoons. I mean, they're not, groundbreaking, but they're cute, and they conveyed a story that I wanted to tell, and I feel like I accomplished something with it. And seeing them up on the wall, all professionally framed, and scratching all the artistic itches that I needed to get done, and I learned things through it. I went through process, and had some ups and downs, some of stuff like, oh, it's not gonna look good, it's gonna look like crap, I don't even know why I'm doing this, this is completely stupid, I should quit. But just sticking with it, I came up with 3 really good paintings that I'm really proud of. And sometimes even with putting yourself out there, doing stuff out of your comfort zone, sometimes things don't get the same reaction that you thought you'd get. So like I put in some portraits that are like this. They look nice, they're really well rendered, of Beetlejuice and Michael Keaton Batman, and like everybody likes those, and I would think that everybody be like, oh, those cartoons are really cool. I would think that they would think the opposite, but everybody likes those things over the the cartoons that I worked for almost 6-7 months to come up with, from a sketch size of a silver dollar. It was like my baby, and nobody likes my baby. So it's like, I mean, there are people, I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but you just gotta, you just keep doing it. There's a process for everything. Kind of got on a tangent there, but I don't know. That's awesome. I like doing birds too. One of my pictures I did a couple years ago was like a free flow painting that I kind of had like experimented with, and I just started drawing. I said the one thing I was gonna draw was a skull, and I started drawing a skull, and then the skull turned into a nest, and then the nest turned into, it's weird, like glowing embryo baby things, like glowing in like this like light, and they are protected by 3 different ravens around them, and one was looking like over its shoulder at you, and the other one was looking over the little embryo glowing baby things inside the nest. It was a weird painting, but it was fun to paint. I heard this cool thing about like the evolution of artists, and like everybody when you're like a kid. I hope I can say this right, but like when you're a kid, you're like trying to draw things like that represents things around in your little universe, and like you're not going to be good at it. You know, you're a little kid. You're going to be drawing like wiggly lines, stick figures, kind of like suggested shapes of whatever you're looking at or trying to convey. But then as you get better, you push the realism. You're trying to capture what a face looks like, proper structure, nose, eyes, proper placed, and stuff like that. But as that develops, you start pushing your perception of what you can draw and put into the paintings as starting to render out deeper into the shadows. Instead of just putting a black where a shadow is, you're drawing within those shadows, so you're rendering out deep within those things. So now you're pushing that realism and getting it to like the nth degree that you can do it, you know, at your, you know, point in time of your progress. And then as you go on and you get to the point where you're able to render everything exactly how society, how not society, but how the world is in reality. But then like you get bored of that as you advance in your development, and you start to characterize things and start to stretch things, warp them, and stuff like that, and almost in some maybe not unknowledgeable, sounds kind of mean, but like less knowledgeable people in the advancement of like art and stuff like that would think that like, oh, you're drawing squiggly lines, a kid could draw that. But what really is happening is you've been able to create what is in reality, and to a point that it's so good that you've grown bored, and you're inventing, you're starting to, you know, characterize your own, you know, creating your own thing. And it's almost like a regression, but then but you're actually just taking things out that don't need to be there, so you're more simplifying things. But it takes that knowledge from when you started all the way up to when you could draw everything so perfect it's like a photo, or realistic to the nth degree. But then you start to simplify things and get rid of things that don't need to be there, that are overcomplicated. And then that's like the progression of an artist from, you know, being so simple that it's just squiggly lines and, you know, just like a child's rendering, to simple lines that are expertly put there for a reason. So that's kind of like what I think about sometimes, about the evolution of artists and where I stand in my development. And don't be afraid to wipe it off. I forgot where I heard that saying at, or what I was talking about that perspective. What kind of stuff have you tried to use drawing or painting? I've done a bunch of stuff. Um, I started out with pencils and stuff like that, and color pencils when I was a kid. Yeah, I'm a little stuck in my ways too. I like painting with acrylic paint the most. I used to use color pencils and or I would use Prisma color pencils, the waxy ones, and use tracing paper. Tracing paper has this. If you get vellum, vellum's really nice quality paper, but it has like a light wax coating over it. So I would use that to blend and do some crazy stuff with. Yeah, I was trained as I was trained as an oil painter, and so a lot of the concepts that I use in my paintings now when I'm using acrylics, I just you know I just kind of you know use water instead of the mediums and the solvents and stuff like that. So like I use glazes, but I call them it's called a wash over here. So but yeah, I was trained as an oil painter. I painted a bunch of stuff, and I took like college courses and one college course in drawing. So, but those were just basically like getting out of the house on a weeknight to be around like-minded people, that happen to have a few nuggets of really valuable information. So I got some out of it, but I've made more progress on my own. But I have such a hard time with digital drawing. I am not nearly as good anything with digital. It's just completely foreign to me. I mean, like I said before, I'm like a complete like technical painter and stuff like that. So I love having tools. I love being able to have it in front of me, look at it, stare at it, and be able to touch it and work with it. And just that aspect of it doesn't um, it doesn't mesh with the digital realm. Like I do digital work. I've made tons of logos that were made into like things for garments, and I've made banners and flags and stuff like that in Photoshop and stuff like that. But like doing like something like this, I can't do it. I can do like simple colors, just like flat colors with maybe some drawing a little bit to it, but like that's a completely different animal to me. It's kind of foreign. I would like to get into it more, but like I can only do so much, like just to get to this level of like being able to stream and stuff like that and do art at the same time. It took me a few months, like almost a half a year to figure out the streaming to be able to do something like this. So I roll with the flow. There's things that I'll try and things that will get done when they get done. So take one step at a time. But yeah, I like oil painting. I want to do some more, but I can't stand the smell, and I'm a little you know, I don't like when you have to clean your brushes. You're basically putting that oil residue either down your drains. It's gonna mess up your drain and go into the environment, which is not good either. So it's like I feel guilty about doing that. So it's like at the school they were reusing their turpentine or was it mineral spirits? That's what it was, mineral spirits, and they had some kind of waste company that would come and figure out all that. So I didn't feel as bad, but just having that in the back of my mind kind of bothers me. And like I know that some of the oil stuff is kind of toxic, and I just don't want to be in a little room with all of that. And if I had like a better ventilation thing over here in my little studio, I think I would definitely pick it up again. But right now, I just can't deal with the fumes and stuff like that. But oil paint is like super rich. It's beautiful. Like I met a friend of mine was a tattoo artist, and introduced me to oil painting and his style of art. And I went to see him at a college one time, and that's where I really got the bug for wanting to be an oil painter. But after I figured out that I could kind of use acrylics and still get almost, I mean, not exactly the same result, but I can use the same techniques and come close to something like an oil painting. That's why I stuck with oil, because it was easier to clean up, or I stuck with acrylics because it was easier to clean up and didn't seem so toxic. But I would definitely pick it up if I got a better exhaust system. I'm really actually curious about trying gouache for the first time. I've seen it on a few YouTube channels that I watch recently and in the past, but it came up recently in a few videos that I've seen, and it just kind of got me thinking again about trying it. They say it's like acrylic that can be reactivated and blends really well. So I'm not really sure how that would work with my style. I might have to work with a little bit, because I like to paint with a lot of water and washes and thin layers and stuff like that. So I don't know if that would be weird at all. So that's something I'm interested in trying. I also paint on illustration board, so I think that would lend it pretty useful for painting with gouache. Yeah, I know they have some of that kind of stuff out there, but I like my personality is like I'm gonna use the good stuff, so I'm gonna go straight for regular oil paint with turpentine or whatever, mineral spirits, and some. I was using Japan dryer medium when I was painting, and I was using gambling gal kid, and then I switched to Japan dryer medium when I was painting back like 13 years ago or so. Yeah, I saw it. I saw it the morning it came out. It was a good episode. I enjoyed it. I was kind of I don't know. I was taken out of the flow of the Book of Boba Fett a little bit with the introduction with the last two episodes, or the two episodes before the finale. But I enjoyed those episodes a whole bunch. But it just kind of like made me stumble a little bit through the um, you know, getting used to like it's a Boba Fett show. But then like I started thinking about that it's basically a chapter in the bigger story. So it's like if you look at the Bible has books, you know, which are basically chapters. And like so it's like, oh, that makes sense for it to be like, if you look at it a bigger sense or a bigger picture of it being like chunks of the Mandalorian's story all the way through, and in that one specific part, the Book of Boba Fett is a little bit about how Boba Fett fits into the Mandalorian kind of universe that's going on right now. So I loved the show. I thought it was really cool. I loved all the Tusken tribal things and the gaining respect and all that stuff. I mean, that for me personally, that tugs like a heartstring for me. So I was in love with the show like almost immediately, and like I enjoyed the little tongue-in-cheek humor and stuff like that. So like a lot of people are hating on the show a little bit, but I think they should lighten up a little bit. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty decent. I'm a big Star Wars fan, like almost no matter what it is. Like, but the only thing I haven't seen is the holiday special. I refuse to watch it because I don't want it to ruin like any like thing that I like my fandom for Star Wars. So like I refuse to watch that. That's about it. But I love Star Wars like no matter what it was. Like I love the cartoons. I know uh, the way I think about it, Star Wars was made for kids, you know. So it has kind of that kind of wonderful world kind of feel to it, and it's supposed to. And you know it's so cool that the last few generations of kids that have walked this earth have been able to have pretty much their own generation of Star Wars. And like with me, I think I'm a really lucky generation because I grew up getting to bond with like my parents over their Star Wars, and that was also my Star Wars, you know. And then I got the prequels. You know, some people don't like them, some people do. I look at them as an overacted theatrical play. Like if you go see Romeo and Juliet at like the downtown community freaking theater, you know, like, you know, it's just a different way of looking at that section of Star Wars. And the new ones, they have their place. You know, I like some of the aspects of them, some of the lore. I mean, I'm a lore junkie. I love the deeper meanings of everything. The screenplay is just one aspect of it. I dig deeper. That's my passion of the fandom, and you know, I get a little crazy when it comes to like talking about aspects of the Force and stuff. So I'm not gonna talk about that here. I don't have enough time. But But I like all of the Star Wars. They all have their special little things for the overall story. I haven't read a lot of the Legends books because I didn't get into Star Wars or I didn't get into the Star Wars audiobooks until uh, just before The Force Awakens was coming out, so I didn't have like a big chance to get into the Legends, but I hit some of the big ones like the original Thrawn trilogy. That's amazing. I love that. That was some of the best books that I had the privilege of being able to start like my Star Wars journey with, or this audiobook journey. And then after that, they started coming out with books that were related to the new canon, and they had separated the Legends to the new canon. And then I just started diving into all the new canon, and I pretty much, there's probably like a handful of books I don't have, but I pretty much listened to all of them. I've listened to all of them except for one of the new era of Star Wars they've come out with the High Republic. That stuff's pretty good too. There's a couple ones, but the main line is pretty good. They have the main line, middle grade, which would be like a young adult book, and like a little bit more easy reading. But I listen to all the Star Wars books that come out on Audible. They're awesome. My favorite book that I've listened to from Legends is the Palpatine, or not the Palpatine, the Darth Plagueis book. That one's amazing. I love how they talk about the Force and the descriptive narrative or description of the Force, how it feels and how it works and stuff like that. It was really awesome. My favorite new book, that one's a little harder. My favorite one that like pops off off the top of my head is the Asajj Ventress book with the other Voss is his last name, like Dryden Voss. I can't remember his first name, but it's the Jedi that has the yellow stripe across his nose and the dreadlocks. There's a book about them too, and oh man, that book is great. I love that book. And then some of the other new books are pretty good. They're really kind of creepy about like talking about the things that I don't want to spoil them, but there's like creatures and bad guys in it, and both of them are really equally kind of creepy. But just about to wrap up the stream. Got a couple more minutes. Just do a couple more lines, and then we'll do a little look at, and then we'll wrap it up here for tonight. I think this is going to look really awesome when I put a gloss coat over it. Sometimes when you put a gloss coat over a painting, it takes down all the it takes it to an even shine, depending on if you use matte semi-gloss or whatever they got, matte semi-gloss and what's the other one? Satin. That's the other one. I love the satin one. Satin one is the I think the best. But I think we're gonna just call it. So I really appreciate everybody stopping by for the little quick test stream. I got some new equipment that I was working with today, and did some rearranging of my stream desk here. And I want to send a shout out to my lovely wife for hooking me up with the new microphone for Valentine's Day. I got an awesome wife. She's the shit. I think she missed my stream. She should have been here. She would have been blowing up the chat. But anyways, I want to thank her and thank everybody else for stopping by and saying what's up and checking out the little bit of progress that we made today and sharing in some of my stories and my artistic nickel knowledge and little soapbox I got on there for a little bit. But I'll usually try to stream on Saturdays, but this month has been a little busy, so I might not be able to make this next Saturday. But if you follow me, you'll see me pop up here when I can be in the studio and do the stream. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Art by Pale Horse. I got some cool videos that go all the way back about 7 years, 8 years in my art journey. Some of them cover my journey to the Comic-Cons and my experiences there. There's some information about what made my journey successful and things that I changed to get more profit out of my my print sales and things that I learned along the way, things that messed up and lessons and stuff that I've taken away from that. So that's a pretty cool little series. There's about, I think, 24 of them. And that's about it. So I'm really glad that everybody stopped by and said what's up. And I'll leave you with a final reveal of this painting for tonight. And we'll probably do one more session. So it's looking pretty good. I'm going to paint the sides black and put a nice hanger on the back so it sits real nice on the wall when it's all done and what's it called, clear coated and everything. So thanks a lot for hanging out. Thanks for stopping by and talking to me for so long. It was a great conversation. I had a great time. But thanks for stopping by, everybody. I'm going to get out of here. I've been here a little bit longer than I was supposed to. I got some ramen sitting in the microwave at home. Thanks, wife. You're the best. See you guys.